Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another day with Dylan. We are playing around with a little bit of Lego today. Wanted to get back to doing something a little bit different. So the lighting is very bizarre today. I'm not quite sure why it's shadowing quite the way it is, but we're going to go with it and see what we can get working. So we are back from ads. Apologies to everybody, and good morning to Fantastic Sherlock Fox. Great to see you. So let's rock and roll.
Howdy.
Hey Mama Bear, good morning to you too. We are playing around today with the Shrieking Shack. Now, I've got a camera that's playing a little differently than usual. I've swapped out one of my cams. I've also changed... Oh, go away. I've also changed the height, or not the height, the physical height of the camera so that it's a little closer to what we're working on. Now, it's being a bit weird. It's trying to center everything for us and zoom in. So my hands have gone teeny tiny. But then if we do stuff in front of the camera, it's supposed to be faster on the focus. We'll just see how it goes. I've also got the play set showing on the opposite screen, and it looks like I'm on the wrong page. So let's just double check and see what we can do about that. We don't want to be at the end. We want to be here. Bag 3. All right, so let's get bag 3 out and get a roll on. And if things look really strange, apologies, and we will try and figure it out as we go. I'm going to set this chunk aside because this is where we had the moon and stuff and the actual Whomping Willow. And I'm not sure what we're going to get into next. And I got the impression that I didn't finish this chunk. So I'm just going to set it out of the frame for a second, see if the camera will let me. We'll open another bag. Lots of noise. That one. Ooh. Right. I realized I normally check the Lego bags on the floor and not care where they go, but this time I decided I actually have to care because I tossed it and it nearly sat on my oil heater, which would be a bad idea. Plastic on an oil heater. Okay. There's these. It's open. The camera isn't going to know what to do with me for a few minutes here. And it might even be a smidge behind, actually, which I find really odd. Shouldn't be any buffering, but it does do strange things. Oh wait, Wrigley bag. For the next step. Explosion, yay. So it wants us to grab this plate, and we're going to put 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, this one here. I'm going to try and do what it says as best I can, though these reflections are a bit distracting. Make the temperature come up, that'd be great. The lighting, it's a bit orange for me. Nope. Okay, that's fine. We'll do our best. Alright, so we've got that one, and then next step up. Next. We've got... Where could I find it? Yeah, in Canada, it is Family Day weekend, which is part of why I'm half hour behind, because I got excited this weekend doing other things and completely forgot that I actually had to set up the capture card for my instruction set. I did it differently the last time we did Lego, and I'm actually liking not having it done that way. So, capture card for the win. However, I have to find all the right bits and bobs and get it to work. 1, 2. See, making mistakes already. All right. And 3. This one here. Okay, and then next. Oops. 9. Hold that just a bit. In. There we go. Okay. Trying to make sure I can still see what I'm doing for instructions around the microphone. But it's pretty a little funky, so let me push the mic just a bit back. If that poses problems for people, do let me know. Okay, so this one, that one. Now we need strange looking piece. This has a bit of an arc to it. You can see the shine reflection. 1, 2. Right on the front? Okay. Sure, alright. Brings on this piece. We're very bright in the white. I'm not quite sure what it's doing, but every time I mess with it, we end up with strangeness in the camera. It's even weirder, so trying not to do too much. NVIDIA graphics cards they think they've got brains, but I think they're trying to outthink us. Okay, there we go. Oop. So hopefully you guys have had a decent week or weekend, and if you do not celebrate, oh boy, do not celebrate a family day where you are, then I'm hoping your work week starts okay. We had an absolutely fantastic stream weekend with the team. So the weekend was wonderful. Okay, you know what? This is driving me crazy. Yeah, there's a bit of a delay, but I think that might be better in the end. I don't know. Yeah, it's being a bit weird in the delays, so might have to see if I can do it without that feature, which is fine. I'm totally willing to do so, but for some reason my camera is a pill. Okay, let's try something else. You're gonna see a bit of what you normally wouldn't want to see. Overhead cam. Sorry, the lag is bothering me, so let's see if I can change it up to be the mic or the camera directly. I think it's this one. Yes. Okay. So let's see if the other control will make it do what it's supposed to do. I have multiple ways of controlling these cameras right now, and it's kind of confusing. That. But this app will give me what I want. It's not going to be smart, but that's fine. If it's less laggy, I'm okay with that. Let's see if we can zoom ourselves in. Wink. Whoa. Okay, maybe the lag was better. I don't know. Yep. It's still laggy, but a little bit less so. Aim adjustments. Can I play with this? Not that part. Ooh. White balance is a thing. Come on. There we go. Drop it. Aha! Better? Better. Sort of. We'll see. Don't like that. Sorry. This one. Funny when you get cameras that are fighting over, or sorry, cameras, the software is fighting over the cameras. That's the right one? It froze. Deactivate. Reactivate. Okay, we got the right one. Let's see what it does. Seems way out, way back in. Okay, we'll go with it. Whatever. I don't know why it was being fussy, but it was.
Thank you for the raid, Scrub Lord XL, and welcome to your 5 viewers too.
Here we go. Well, good morning and welcome on in. Thank you very much for dropping in, Scrub Lord. I appreciate that. Thank you for bringing your team. So we're just doing a little bit of Lego today, mucking around on a family day weekend, and building some of the Shrieking Shack from Harry Potter. All right. So welcome on into everybody coming through. See if we can get the next step going. Now my setup is very much different than Fantastic Sherlock Fox's setup. Not only is the white being strange, but I do not like 45 maybe? Yeah, that's better. It's a bit off, but it's not terrible. Alrighty, so, where was I going with this? Next step, please. Okay. Now, I have printed instructions, but I figured I'd give it a go to see how we would do on the digital app off my tablet, which is this one in the corner here. That away. And, so far, so good, but I'm not holding my breath. I've got a U-Green capture card in here, and we'll see whether or not I like that one longer term. It's being a bit odd. But I had to borrow the USB-C to HDMI out cable from our Switch to make this thing work. And so far, it's not bad. So we want a new piece over here. Pull that out of the frame. And we want a white bit on the corner. Hope the stream goes well. No problem. Yep. Thank you for raiding and running. For someone who was in Scrublord's stream, could you please tell me what he was working on today? I did not, as you can see, get a chance to be in his stream, but would like to know nonetheless. I hope you do feel better, Scrublord. Sounds like you were feeling a little under the weather this weekend. So we got an edge. Okay, now it wants past that. We need to... I don't like that they put stuff over there because then I have nothing to set it on for pressing back on parts. Let's see, how about my extra bits tray? That'll work. Okay, pull out stick fix thing. Let's flip this. That'll do. Alright, so we want 1x4 bridge arch. Grover was streaming Lego Star Wars. Ooh! Lego Star Wars game. Do you happen to know what part of the storyline he was playing? There's a few Lego Star Wars games out there. Hopefully it was one of the more recent ones that he was playing. Some of the older ones are a little bit, well, jankier than necessary by today's standards, although the aesthetic of Lego doesn't change a whole lot. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. 1, 2, this one. My son has the Lego Skywalker Saga, and I think somewhere we had the complete series. I'd have to check, but I don't have Steam open right now. So they call it the complete series, but really it was like 1 through 6. And he's played a good amount of it, and he's asked me to play a bit with him, and I've done so. But because he's unlocked all the story and stuff in advance, he's much better at it, and frankly, put a little more a little more willing to go ahead with his game and less in the story. So I sometimes don't enjoy it as much, just because I want to do some of the stuff with him through the story. And I mean, he's still following the storyline. We've done that, but it just isn't quite my cup of tea. That's okay. It works. We can start a little bigger. Skywalker Saga. Yes, perfect. It does. It does. That's actually the more recent one of the sort of complete base storyline, so it does actually help a lot. Okay, what do I have here? This one looks terrible. Give me just a second to... Oh, no, that's the main screen. Never mind. I have a bit of a black edge to this, and I'm not enjoying that black edge. Let me just grab a chance to bring this up and get rid of that. I still see a little black bar on the bottom. That's, my iPad has... There we go. My iPad has, what do you call it? Snap it in the corner, please. Thank you. Hello. Black bezel around the edge of the app, so I decided to cut that off. Alright, and then the black bar at the bottom that you continue to see is where I would actually be able to go to quit the app, so I have to be careful not to cut that one off. Okay, so, so Skywalker Saga is a little bit of fun. It's one of those ones that you could classify as a hoot. So this is being held on rather weakly by the brown bit. Off center, okay, so snapping in sandwich-wise. Okay. Now, we still have this lip back here, which is kind of annoying because it's preventing me from setting it flat. So yeah, I've played some of the Skywalker Saga with my son, and it was actually a lot of fun. Running around and doing things. It's designed in most storylines, because as Lego does, that it's 2 characters. So you've got your main character, and then they've got their little sidekick. When you've got 2 players, it generally behaves the same, but sometimes you can actually have your 2 characters plus your sidekick, so it gets a little bit confusing on the screen. And they will let you go in opposite directions. Doing so too far, so spreading out too far, can cause the game to lag out a bit, and depending on what device you're playing it on. We were playing on his laptop, which was fine. At one point, we were going to be trying to cast it to our television with a Chromecast, just so that I didn't have to be quite literally like breathing down his neck over his shoulder, because it wasn't a remote play. It was two people quite literally sitting in front of the same machine. If both chose keyboard and mouse commands, I don't know who had the mouse, but the keyboard, you actually shared one physical keyboard, which on a laptop, that makes no sense. But even without the laptop, it wasn't making a whole lot of sense. Oops, that's offset. So by not having to do that, we were doing better, but it ended up being that that didn't work out so well. So I am absolutely horrible with a controller, but these sorts of games are the sort of thing that I can barely manage on controller, so I was playing it that way. And they, so that was better, but we still had to share one laptop screen because they ended up with a horrible lag in the casting. Yeah, sharing keyboard would be funky. It was really, really weird. Hey, Metal, good to see you. Hopefully you're doing well. All said and done. And that you've had some yummy, yummy food today so far. So we are working on the Shrieking Shack. Oh. I will try and put this Shrieking Shack sketch in, oh, not that one, in the corner so you guys can see what's going on. I may end up turning off the text games because I did not get a background put in behind them. And as you can see, I've got a lot of my Lego fitting right in behind them. Let me shove this out of the way for now. See a little more of my arm going hunting for pieces? Okay. Hello. Better. Not great, but better. Currently eating a bagel. Mmm, what kind of bagel? I love bagels. Bagels are yummy. Yummy, yummy, yummy. Okay. 1, 2, 3, blah, blah, blah. This one. What did you... Oh, tiny. Where is it here? I have got... Here, I know it. Okay. One of those ones where you see the parts, then you can't find them when you want them. Excuse me. Okay, this is an arch-shaped piece. There's a little arc kind of thing. My light's all screwed up again. I don't know. Exposure is just not my friend today. Okay, and what piece is that? Let me just see here. Boop. One. Oh, okay. This one. We needed one of these. I got the arch, and I need a pie-shaped piece. Plain one with side butter and the other cream cheese. Yum! Yum, yum, yum. I like those. Those are really good. Okay, and then back. Actually, let's close this and put these on. I was looking for some sort of curve that didn't exist. I'm not sure, like, I'm still puzzled as to why the LEGO designers would have put this hangover bit at the back. Like, why they would actually add it this early because of the way that it makes it so the things don't sit flat on a table. Either that or I've done the piece wrong, but I don't see on the table here anything else that would make any sense to go in its place. Okay, and this one hangs over on the other side. Next. 2 brown bump things. I love using this app when I can for my instructions. Not just, I mean, it's blinks and stuff. You guys are probably having a little bit of trouble seeing that. My monitors are really strange right now, so I'm not entirely sure if you're seeing it well or not. But right up in, let's see, right up in here, and I start using my mouse. Great. Right up in the center section, I'd say right over my finger, but that doesn't help because my finger keeps moving. Up in here, they're blinking green. So the blinking helps me notice where pieces are, sometimes better than the red. But also you can get it to rotate, you know, we can zoom. And it shows you all the pieces, or you can see the list of what all the bits are. The animations are kind of extraneous, but fun. Just to simply have a little bit of something different. So this is part of why I wanted a capture card for my tablet. But then it also means, yeah. So it also means then that I can play other things on my tablet. So in theory, we could actually do tablet games on here. Probably would do a better screen layout. Like, I mean, I wouldn't shrink it, obviously. And we'll play to see if that's the capture card I want. There's another device in our house at the moment that theoretically would capture HDMI to HDMI. But then I don't have an HDMI input available on the computer at the moment that would take things. So, like, it's all only out for the monitor, and that would not be helpful. But yeah, one of the other reasons I like this app is that it's really not showing well for you guys on the left-hand side. It's probably a little bit bright, a little bit white. But if I wake up my tablet, maybe that'll help me. 1, 2, 3. Oh, nope, that's the other way. 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's make it stupid bright and we'll see what happens. Boop. House. No, not what I want. No, this one. Okay, better. So I can see it brighter. It's compensating for you guys, but on the left-hand side, so I can make the list of parts bigger. So if I need to, I can actually see what I'm looking for, like that one. Oh, okay, there's only one shape that fits it. So this bit, oops, if I drag this off, I made the part nice and big so I can see what it is. And at the moment, actually, the view you guys have is almost 1-to-1, which is great. Looks good overall. It's something a little different. I mean, I don't know if it's the kind of thing that Fantastic Sherlock Fox would be into. His setups and mine are very different on purpose. Now, I somewhat envy his camera, and like his actual camera setup and camera layout, because I can do this and everything wiggles, right? But if I can do that by accident. But we'll see if we have enough space to build, because I don't know how tall this is going to be vertically. That lighting is really frustrating me. We're going to go, you guys may need to turn down your monitors, or I'll see if I can turn down the brightness overall. But this one is bugging me that it's so washed out. Auto? No. Yeah, it's a little bit weird. Not sure what I can do about that one. Like that and see what happens. Camera control, please. Yeah, the exposure is a really bizarre one because it should be behaving better than it is. I'm gonna blow it out completely for a minute just so I can see what it... Oh, okay, well, nope. The video processing is being dumb. Alrighty, sure, we'll go with it. And it could be the capture card being strange for all I know, because it actually doesn't have its own external software. It's all done inside, so it's very plug and play, which is great, but we have some challenges in the main, like in the main camera, the one that's actually attempting to wriggle. That's okay, we'll go with it. It's Lego. Lego my pieces. Okay, so we need, let's just pull this pile out. Okay, 1, 2, 3, so what, one of these, it's 1 by 6. Scrubbo was looking into captured devices. He was, yes. The U-green one was actually pretty handy. I like that one. I'm curious about the one that we've got kicking around in the other room, the HDMI to USB-C, or USB-A, sorry. I'm curious about that one, just to see if it would clean up some of the mess in here, because I actually had trouble finding a cable, or not a cable, a USB port that was going to cooperate. I'm finding I'm overloading my USB ports here. I just have a stupid number of devices in the room. The hub is helpful. Part of the issue is I've got lights over my monitors that are also USB, which is great, except that they insist on running off of other power, and it just, yeah. It occurred to me I could probably plug those in elsewhere and free up some ports on things that actually talk to the computer, so that would probably be something for me to play with next time. Okay, 1, 2, 3. What's the other one I need? This gray one here. Okay, and that. Okay. Oh, right, they're blinking. Duh. Let's shove this out of the way. Make this a little bigger. And you just... Oh, whoops. Nope. Wrong finger. Okay, there we go. Which, yeah, I'm using the box here is... I have it right on my side table here, but I'm loath to bring it on camera just in case it messes up what's centered on the camera. But it's a 1080p camera, or capture card from Ugreen, Ugreen, quite literally. Fantastic Sherlock Fox ordered it, so you could actually look up the link if you wanted to. But it does up to 4K 60Hz input. Output is up to 4K 60Hz, supposedly. See, the capture port is USB-C, and the resolution of the capture itself is only up to 1080p, so you can actually pass through better, but you can't actually capture that. The capture is only up to 1080. And yeah, it does audio as well. It just is kind of, at the moment it's irrelevant for what I'm doing, but it may not be longer term. I think that's it. So these have compatible recording apps, include things like OBS Studio, XSplit, Hot Player, and QuickTime Player. It says "and more," so nobody knows what "and more" means. Windows, Mac, Linux. It says Windows, Mac, Linux, Android, and then doesn't say iOS, but I mean, we kind of faked it, so fake it till you make it. Yeah, see, there's the paper instructions. The Fantastic Sherlock Fox was... Metalhead responding to him. Okay. Yeah, 3 foods that Fantastic Sherlock Fox is not a fan of. It would be cream cheese with smoked salmon and capers. Yep. That's one that we very, very rarely have in our house, and if we do, it's usually because I brought it in, and I'm the only one that eats it. So I would buy that stuff out for myself and then bring it home, but I haven't done that in, geez, eons? Ages, since I worked out of the house, so yeah, that would be eons. I love cream cheese. I think cream cheese is a fantastic product. I wish my kids were into it, but they're not. So a cream cheese tub is all to myself, which is great because when I was doing gluten-free, I wouldn't have to worry about having glutinous crumbs in my cream cheese because the only person who put that there would be me. It's great. I love the fruity cream cheeses. So plain is great. I like quite a zingy plain, but I also like the sort of semi-sweets, usually like a strawberry one. I had a cinnamon and sugar cream cheese once. That was not quite my cup of tea. Okay, so we've got bigger pieces now. That was definitely not my cup of tea to have. Okay, this is a base for the ground. This back bit is really bothering me. Just gonna take a poke through, see if there's anything else that looks like it should have fit with that spot. Not that I can see. It's really, the hangover is bothering me because I can't really put it, like you can see it sits up. I need to double check that because this is, oh whoops, not gonna work for me. Okay, let's bounce, 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 bounce. Yeah, okay. So I did it wrong. That would explain an awful lot. And the parts spin, that's kind of cool. I didn't realize that. Okay. See, so I did it wrong. Just the way it was hanging over. So I should have used this piece. I'll show you the difference real quick. That would explain a lot. So I can pull that out of the way. Oh, come on. Get off there. I clipped my fingernails and now everything's like feeling pokey to the main part of my finger. Okay. So I used this, oh, wrong one. This way. Fixer, Stixer, or brick separator for the win. So I used this one. I should have used this one. So yeah, my mistake. See, this is why it's good to be able to rotate things. I should have done that. And then I can get right back to where we were, sitting flat on the table. There. That fits an awful lot better. Oh, now I've got the other one stuck together. Oopsies. Come on. Ah. And then drop one on the floor. Stick in the tray for now. My room is a mess. A big mess. My fault, but it's a big mess. Okay, so let's get back to where we were. So we are... Yeah. Sometimes you have to wait for the animations, which can be a bit annoying. But now that we're flat, it's a lot easier to work with. Move this around. Okay, so we're here. Oops, excuse me. You guys don't need to see this much, but cameras are trying to auto-frame me today and it's not working well. Okay, so then we've got this one and just a 2x2. Here. And one of the nice parts about what's actually going on is I've got the tablet set up in my usual spot because I normally use it for extra buttons and stuff. I'm trying to just turn this edge out of the way. Maybe. That said, yeah, I'm not going to bother. It's not helping. Oops. That said, I could, because of the length of the cables and stuff, actually set it off to the side entirely, and it would be a little bit more out of the way. Okay, did I accidentally run a step forward? No, I didn't. Okay. So, that's really helpful. I can move this thing around a little bit more rather than having it take up some of the desk space. You're seeing the edge of it's actually a keyboard attached to the thing. I should have put it on a stand. Do I have the stand handy? I do. Great. Let's get this keyboard out of the frame. So we're going to see a little bit of foo-foo fussing around. Because very frequently I need the keyboard on this thing because the keyboard's Bluetooth to it. It just doesn't want to separate. There we go. Max Bridge keyboard for my M1 tablet is great when you need it, not when you don't. Oops. Okay, perfect. Now I can move this out of the way. I keep bumping the section we built earlier. That's not good. Move that. All right, so you can see the camera has decided we are in a different position. I didn't do that. It's got its own mind at the moment, so let's see if we can tell it to auto frame differently, please. This way. Better. My lights has decided it's got its auto brains in the top, and for some reason it's decided that it needs to be dark. So I'm just gonna shut off its auto brains. Come here. Be a little lighter, please. There we go, that's better. I'm gonna let it have its auto brains back, but sometimes you need to reset what it's looking at. Okay. So we have a 3x1 is what we need. It's this. And what is this? Close that. Come on, computer. Oh, it froze. Lovely. Back. Forward. It froze. Get back in here. Yeah. Okay, so give me a quick second to be right back, and I'll kick that over, and we'll be back to the races. All right. Yeah. All right. I think we're good, so let's get back to it. So far, so good? Okay, we're back. Sort of. It is spinning. It lets me know it is the piece I want. Let's roll. All right, sorry for the delay there, guys. For some reason, it was not cooperating. And events-wise, why is this paused? Ah, weird. For some reason, one of my screens is showing me things top to bottom. The other screen's showing me top to bottom. I do not know why it's doing that. That's okay. We'll go with it. All right. So, let's get out of the settings screen. Conversation is going to the new stuff's at the bottom. The event feed, for some unknown reason, is going new stuff's at the top. So, yeah. StreamerBot, you make no sense. Stamps, we're good. Okay, that should help. Phone call, that's fine. All right. You won't miss much. So let's get back to this. Close. Okay. So we need that one on the vertical end. And there. Oh, something. I think it's the mic casting shadow. Let's push this back a little more. Danger, Will Robinson, danger. Microphone, get out of the way. All right, we'll see what that does for lighting. So my other thing has decided that things are crazy again. I have no idea what it's all upset about. Lose your brains. Brightness, please. Can't win. And you? Oh, I see what's doing. Okay. It's got the reflections off of the Lego itself and the plastic at the bottom. That's okay. I'm going to be hopefully changing the desk surface on this one, although it's going to take some work to get done. So, yeah, it'll be interesting. Okay, so you have to charge your calculator? Yes. Trust me. It's funny how many times our teacher actually had to have batteries in his classroom because because we'd be doing a test and the students would have classroom set calculators that they had borrowed for the test that died on them halfway through the class. So the teacher would have to open up a mass pack of batteries. Okay, we've got 2 pieces, but the thing is, okay, they're flat. I'm just finding ones with studs on them all the time. And I need the flat ones. I need this one and one of these. All right. So, where do those go? Pop Culture Party has changed. It is 2 brands of fruit-flavored candy. We can definitely do better than 2 brands, I'm sure. Now, brands, I'll take lines. So, for example, I know Carnaby Sweet makes a fruit-flavored one. Cadbury makes a fruit-flavored one. Oh, by the way, I'm leaving fingerprints all over the place. Hershey's, I don't know if they make a fruit-flavored one. I know Maynard's does, for sure. Dare's Real Fruit Gummies, yep. Maynard's or Bassett's Wine Gums, yes, but. And here's the piece. Yes, except, and that is that the wine gums, I mean, one could say, yes, they're not really fruit-flavored, they're wine-flavored. And, you know, it's one of those things, I didn't like wine growing up, as in, like, actual wine. Part of it was just because my parents, for good reason, you know, they only drank wine at my my grandmother's place. Not my mom's mom, but my dad's mom. Because she could be a bit of a lush at times. Suffice to say, she only served it with, like, meals and stuff, so I could have had wine then, but I didn't like it, didn't want it. So when it came time to be old enough to actually drink the stuff, it took me a lot to get into being interested in wine. Now, I think it's got a great opportunity for pairing with other foods. But it just still, as a fruit flavor, I don't really qualify it as a fruit flavor for me. It's a separate thing, but that's just my own taste palette. It's not letting you know if it's changing. Oh, that's not good. Your device. But letting. Is there anything in like a settings screen where you can ask it to report to you the current amount of charge? You might have a low, medium, high, or percentage piece. Because the only thing I can think of is look at that setting and then go back 10 minutes later and look and see if it's changed. Huh. Yeah, I don't think I've ever... can't place the flavor of Moscow Mule. I've had them, but I can't place the flavor. I'm not a mixed drinks person, mostly. Now, that's not to say I actually like fruity mixed drinks, but I don't like your standard, pina coladas. I think I actually would rather drink coconut water, or pineapple juice separately, or what else did I put in there? Coconut cream and stuff with alcohol is just, I don't get it. I don't know why people do that. Although one of my favorite funny stories, technically adult, but not really, if that makes any illogical sense. This one. Oh, whoops. That's why that one's turning. They're a little curvy. There we go. We went with a friend of ours up to Edmonton, and for us, when you look at a map, north would be up. So we went up to Edmonton, and we stayed with overnight in one of their fancy mall hotels. Like they've got one called the Fantasyland Hotel attached to West Edmonton Mall. And
Greetings.
There we go. Okay, now you know. Change from red to orange. That's difficult because maybe it's one of those ones that starts red when it needs charge, orange when it's medium-ish range, and maybe it's green when it's complete. Oh, yep, no problem. Snap green beans for dinner. Ha, he. Can you teach Fantastic Sherlock Fox to do that? Most of the time when the green beans we have are fine. They usually have no tops or tails to them. But occasionally they do. Or when we had garden ones, he wasn't one that was all that great at topping and tailing them. And those bits can be a bit of a surprise in your mouth when you're not expecting it. So anyways, we went up to Edmonton and we were hanging with this friend who had by trade been a bartender as well. So she knew quite a lot of drinks, and it was mildly funny to watch her order an entire, just based off drink title, an entire story over the course of the evening. So she wasn't drinking to get drunk by any stretch of the imagination, but there are a few based on title that you could actually write an entire story out of. Not a long one, but, 6 or 8 or something drinks that all have titles that seem to tell a bit of a story as you go. But that's all there was for the thing. Thanks for catching that, Fantastic Sherlock Fox. I really like that. I can't remember whether or not I've got Oswin currently set up to partially do that, but it's not the same things as shoutout. So the welcomes for people who are streamers or have the info in their stream for streamers should give them a partial shoutout, just in case we miss it. But they don't always succeed. So, Metal, I'm just curious. You say it's art class. Was there a particular art type that you were doing, or something about it you didn't like? I don't think I've ever dropped a class for scheduling reasons, but I've dropped, in university I dropped classes for quite a number of different reasons, university and college. And I'm not going to tell the story deeply because I've told it on stream way too many times, but there was one I dropped from college that I knew was going to be a problem. I'd have to take it another time, but I didn't like the teacher, and the way that they explained the way the class was going to be graded and what you were graded on, I had issues with, so I just said no thank you, which timing wise turned out to be good, bad, ugly, I guess, because my parents, for other reasons, we had falling out in some differences, and they came to scoop me up from school. So I dropped the rest of the classes, I guess you could say. But that was my last kick at going to college, because going to school apparently did not like me any more than I liked it. ADHD is a fun monster when you don't know what's going on. And it's not just being bad at managing and remembering to turn in assignments or something, you know, the last night, the night before the assignments due type of, what's the word? Type of scramble. No, that's not how this works. It was a whole lot more than that. So, one of the pieces I've noticed is my recall is shot to terrible things. I was talking about that with my kid yesterday, and suffice to say that I know a lot of absolutely useless random trivia. This is part of why Geek Out is fun, and similar things, but I have a difficulty with recalling it when I need it, or recalling the right word for stuff. So Metal says it was painting, which you love. The teacher just wasn't your favorite. You'd just be frustrated at her and don't want to be frustrated for 6 hours a week while you're supposed to be painting. She also started an argument with a student and told her that she needed space from her. She told a student she needed space from her. Yeah, okay. Like, maybe find some different words for telling them, and then not straight up tell them you need space from them. Yeah, I can follow. Yeah, I can follow that. To be honest, we had one teacher in our grade 8 year, and so that was many years ago. You know, you can figure that out. Just take a look. But it was the same sort of thing. The class clown, she started an argument with the class clown. Don't ask me why or how. That part I can't remember. But anyways, and so it got to the point where she didn't just need space from him. She had it. There was no way she could get him removed from her class. Apparently she tried. And then he was being disrespectful and still basically picking on her any way he possibly could. Would not take the hint. And that was bad because we were the gifted and talented education class. So where else do you put the kid? That's part of why she couldn't get him removed. So she decided that she was going to quit from the school and that she was going to go to a different school and not want to deal with the gifted classes anymore. And I feel bad for her because I think that was a poor decision. But anyway, she literally just said, "Nope, I'm done. I'm done with you." And she just got up and walked out of the classroom. And probably about 25 minutes later, because we weren't usually a whole chaotic class, they needed someone in all the time. But about 25 minutes later, the school principal came in and said, yeah, she quit and walked off the premises. So I'm not sure what you guys are working on. Please finish the assignment you had. I will try and see who we're going to have for a teacher for your next class, like your next day with this teacher, and have a nice day, I guess. But it wasn't too many hours later that the student who had triggered the whole thing as the last straw was hauled down to the office. Apparently they called his parents in and whatever, and he was warned off because there were a few other teachers he was slowly picking on as well. And he basically got told, look, I recognize you don't have any other opportunities to have the educational, awesomeness that you need, and that you're really quite bright, that's fine, but this is not an acceptable way to amuse yourself by slowly giving teachers mental breakdowns. So, suffice to say that he got suspended briefly, which I thought was not great at the time, but yeah, he briefly got suspended while he basically sorted himself out. And he was gone about like 2 days, I think, or something, but then he came back and he wasn't a whole different kid. He just never picked on the teachers again. I don't know what his parents would have thought of it. Like, I thought they were pretty laid back individuals because they used to volunteer for field trips and stuff and be pretty chill. And they weren't too impressed with what he was up to in the first place. So we knew they knew. But yeah, I guess they must have read in the Riot Act or something, because he never picked on the teachers again and was very careful not to push the kids over the edge in a big way. I mean, if it was something that he felt was just a small, they could bounce back from it, he still would needle them. So we were quite glad when in in high school, because it was junior, senior high building. In high school, he went to another school, actually, and because he wanted a different program than what ours was hosting. But I actually cannot remember whether or not he ended up in Fantastic Sherlock Fox's school or not. That's part of how Fox and I got connected, is that people that were in my gifted program in junior high, so 7, 8, and 9, when it comes to high school, we had basically two choices. You either go to high school with an aim for university advanced placement courses. So when you're looking at your credits and stuff, they'd have stupid numbers of credits because they'd have AP credits on top of things, and most of us took like all the sciences and that kind of jazz. Um, so there wasn't a whole lot for options, or if you took options, it was nerdy options. And the other route that a lot of them went was they would go to a different school in the city and do the International Baccalaureate program. So the idea being that it's challenging, but it's also challenging enough that theoretically you could equally pass any entrance exam for universities around the world that supported it. So you wouldn't necessarily be aiming for your local university. Advanced placement usually worked fairly well in the same vein, but not identically. And I was very firm on the idea at that point that, yeah, I wasn't going to be going any international schools. So I really didn't care about being international school qualified. But I mean, these are the kids that like, they start out in Canada and then they've got their brains set on an Ivy League school in the US somewhere. And it helps for them to have, or well, at least so we thought at the time, it helps for them to have this international stuff. But Fantastic Sherlock Fox, I'm not quite sure how or why he got into, or I think he belongs in one of those smart people programs, but I meant as in I don't know what his backstory is for choosing international baccalaureate program. Could be partly related to having family in the military, which means that you never really know where you're going to get posted. And sometimes where you get posted has, like the high schools and stuff are all more or less informed by the American base in the region. So a lot of that sort of stuff, particularly if there isn't enough students available, they may sometimes, I've read that sometimes the two, like the Canadian base and the American base, will work together on the education part just to have enough students to make it worthwhile. But they do try to keep most things separate. Anyhow, the point being, so because of a lot of the kids in my school in junior high deciding after there we go. So Fox says, nothing so grand. He moved to this province, needed a gifted program, and someone told him that was what was available. Which is actually, when you look at a program as such, yes, it is. If you just want to do like the generic honors type of thing that people talk about, where anybody who doesn't get a grade over 80% ends up having parent-teacher interviews, wondering what on earth happened. But and then the honors classes are graded harder anyways. So our school had honors and AP, and that's the road I went. But a lot of them, other kids from my school and my classes went to what became Fantastic Sherlock Fox's school for this IB program. And so when we started getting together as a group just of friends, what actually had happened, I'm not sure how it worked. I think somebody that I didn't, so someone I didn't know in junior high, they got into was it IB program for Matt? I can't recall. Anyways, they got into this other program, and so they were having a house party with a bunch of friends, and I had met them at university, first year university, because we both had an interest in Magic the Gathering cards. I was the only girl at the Magic the Gathering table, so a nerd who wanted a nerd girlfriend, I guess. So I was sort of dating him at the time, and he'd had a house party with some of his high school friends and apologized and said I probably wouldn't know them. Of course, it freaked me out that I went around the corner a few minutes after people started arriving to say hello and bumped into my grade 8 boyfriend. So that was an interesting one. Anyhow, suffice to say, we discovered that the two groups had gotten sort of together again for the most part. So I don't think Fox has ever met most of my high school friends, but the other way around. I ended up knowing actually quite a few of the ones in Fantastic Sherlock Fox's classes. So in university, some of them were hanging out together, and so I got to know Fantastic Sherlock Fox, and that sort of, as they say, is history. I have a funny feeling, though, had he been able to earlier on, he may actually have ended up in my school. Just he was not in our province at the time, but so it's one of those, alternate reality possibilities. So the two of us hitting it off was not necessarily a surprise. It dismayed some bunch of people, but it was not necessarily a surprise. And all I'm going to say about this last bit, and there's a reason, but is, but whether one likes it or not, parents are like elephants. We as a parent remember things that our kids wish we would forget, and as our parents do the same. And every once in a while, something will come back to bite us that was decades ago. Or, when you were little, I remembered you, whatever, and it was so cute, and I wish I hadn't grown out of it, or whatever. But then there's other things about, when so-and-so was into such and such, I really wasn't interested in, and it's like, nope, don't even go down that trail. I'm not even going to have that story with you. If my mother wants to start a fight, she just has to talk about what she thought of Fox before we started actually dating. And she knows better than to do that now because she knows I won't talk to her for over a month if that's the case. The only reason that things haven't gone longer when we've had fights like that is just, like even now, is just because at one point, because I was the smart kid, I
Ads are
actually didn't have
starting.
friends in school.
Dylan will continue the
That was not a
conversation
thing
after the
for me.
ads are over.
If anything,
Thank you for
absolutely every
supporting the
single one of
stream.
them was a bully. And so, at that point, when you deal better with teachers and parents than you do with other kids your age, it's really, really easy for your mother to be your best friend. So now that makes it difficult for me to sort of ever super fight with her. She doesn't bring that up, like the whole, hey, you and I, blah, 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 no. But it's not easy for me to not talk to her. Although there's times where I have just not talked to her because I'm terrible at keeping up friendships. There's people, even within this community, there's people that periodically, every once in a while, will check in. Like they'll send me a message, be like, hey, everything okay? How you doing? Haven't heard from you in a while. And it's not anything weird. It's just that I am that bad at keeping up on connections and friendships. I had this notion, you can sort of see where the green line's blinking. I had this notion I was going to try and get the sticker laid out sort of like that for a change, but there isn't a hard edge for me to use at the back. And if I put it in sort of the hard edge at the back section, then it looks really weird at the front. And I'm trying to hold this, but there's nothing to hold on to it on. That gives me a really square edge at the front. So I'm trying to wing it, and it's not happy. I'm not happy. It's not happy. I guess this will be my best.
Oh, hey Manic
So
Pixel
far?
Dream Boy. Thanks for hitting the follow button.
Ads are now finished. Yay! Well, thank you for the follow, Manic Pixel Dream Boy. I think. Sorry, we have just met, so hello, welcome to the channel. Welcome to the channel. If you're so inclined, you can lurk. That's totally fine. If you want to say hello and let us know how you've discovered the channel, that would be appreciated as well. So, suffice to say, I'm doing Lego today. I really like Lego. I was doing it weekly, but it became expensive. That's hobbies I do. I do quite like Harry Potter Lego. I'm into Harry Potter, a lot of things. Now, before we get too far into people's opinions of what other people have said, I like the world. I recognize that the author is a jerk, and I also recognize that there are many people who would disagree with me, and there are many people who would want to boycott and all kinds of other things, and there's also problems with the world itself. I look at a couple of things. One, the time it was written in. Two, the target audience, which some of it was written, Rowling has said that she was kind of writing it initially as something her daughter would read when she grew up, although they were harder for cash, and she made a good decision to try and shop it around to get printed. Suffice to say, that worked, So I disagree with her personal opinions, but I still like the world and the work, and there's a lot of holes. Cool. There's a lot of holes in the storylines that can be taken in multiple different directions. So as the Lego front goes, that's my main theme is Harry Potter, but I do build other ones. When I'm not doing Harry Potter, I actually play an awful lot of Minecraft. or some non-first person shooter type of games. Frequently cozy games, but lately my most interesting one lately has been a city builder. Working on Foundation. I picked it up this weekend and absolutely love it. So, but Lego, yeah, I. It's funny. Lego is one of those things for which I've always had a love, but I did not get a whole ton of opportunity as a kid because for some ridiculous reason I have yet to fathom, my parents for the most part thought Lego was for boys. So therefore, I played a lot of with Lego with my brother. Like he and I actually got along fairly well as kids. So um, so I got to play with his Lego, but we had all sorts of, like we had some space armies, and that's the biggest collection I think was the space army stuff. We had some other ones. I got Constructs, which is fine, but it was not compatible with Lego. Of course, and then you get the stereotype girl toys, like I had an ironing board, and things like that. And my mother taught me to sew and so on. Not well. I mean, it's functional. Interesting. It clicks. I'm not used to click close Lego. So, oh, there's a ridge on the door. Okay, so I may have the door upside down. I didn't realize there was directionality to these things. I've never had a directional door in Lego. Anyway, so suffice to say, I didn't get to do that. As an adult, you know, they put out Harry Potter stuff, and I was already into Harry Potter, lots of other things. So Fantastic Fox started buying me sets, and there we go. I absolutely love it. So very glad you came by. No, no, no. Kids toy-sized ironing board with like doll clothes and a plastic toy iron as well with a little like curly cord on the end, and yeah, so I had all of those type of homemaker toys. Even our daughter did for a while because she showed interest, right? Like it's if she's going to copy, as Fantastic Dog Fox says, he uses an ironing board. If our daughter was going to copy it, she didn't end up with that, but she copied the kitchen stuff. So and started playing with things. So we got her a kitchen set. But part of the other reason is although they're in pinks and whatnot for the stereotypes, her brother played with them too with her, and I think we actually bought most of it for him initially because boys can cook. Why not? If they're going to copy homemaking activities, that's part of how kids learn is to sometimes emulate their parents, and part of the emulation is play. Go for it, right? Why not? Okay, are these printed? Yes. Good. Score. Score. Stickers. I can understand stickers on doors. Okay, that kind of makes sense. Disappointing, but makes sense. But when they have stickers on these little flat pieces, they're just difficult to deal with. And we're getting some weird low lighting situations. I'm really gonna have to check on that light on the one I was messing with earlier, because its light bar is behaving kind of oddly. So I don't know what I've changed on the desk that's making it do that. I'm gonna throw some white paper down under it and see if that makes it do anything different once it realizes it screwed up the lighting down there. Oh, my smart camera's being smart on me again. Okay. I just have to be careful what I've got on the edge here. Nothing major. Okay. Yeah. So let's get these pieces put on the front. Now, this is the Shrieking Shack. It has been released in the past, and so it's a twisted entry. So this is the better version of it. 2024, I believe, release. There was one in around about 2011, 2010, 2011, somewhere in there. But as with a lot of the Harry Potter stuff in that period, it is very weak in terms of design. Oops, I keep wanting to switch. And in terms of design, when it is weak like that, it means that it's like ugly. The wands are just circular bars and so on. And there's things that some sets from there I like, but I've never actually gone back to buy them used because I didn't start buying, or Fantastic Shark Fox didn't start buying some of these with me, for me, etc. Until 2018, I believe, when we started getting some of the castle pieces that click together. So I've got a lot of those sets, and I quite like them. There's a definite difference in how the designers did the sets between then and now. Oh boy. Okay, I see this. Okay, so we're spinning, but we're dealing with a flat piece with another sticker on it. Now, one of the reasons you'll find I carry around 2 of the Burke separators, I avoid the orange ones like the plague, just in deference to a community member, but also I love this sort of blue-green teal-ish kind of, well, aqua, I guess, kind of color. You can kind of tell because hence the matte. But part of the reason I carry around 2 of them is so that I can put one on like this, right? It's nice and solid and whatever. And the other one, I use it as a positioner piece. So I've got it because that way the end of these being the separator part is much thinner. So I can put the picture on, get my heavy chunky fingers out of the way, and have a better chance of lining things up. Now I'm working in the center of my table, but for some reason the camera's decided that's not the center because I think it's because I put my arm. Thank you, camera. Okay. I didn't do that. This is the thing that I was talking to Fantastic Shock Fox about yesterday, that one of the cameras now is feeding enough information that my graphics card is able to reposition it. So this allows me, by having the 2 fixed sticks, it allows me to position it where I like. I can peel it off if I need it to, but it looks pretty good. And then by being thinner, it's a lot easier to pull it out without readjusting the picture. So I'm going to show you this one up close. Come on, camera, focus, please. Maybe? Yeah, it's not a great, there we go. So it's focused, but it's not a great picture in the first place. Right? So that dark one apparently goes, I mean, it is the Shrieking Shack, right? What do you expect? It goes on the wall. Okay. Over here. That light bar is really driving me crazy. It makes the whole room dark. I don't know what's with that. All right, so there we go. I'm actually in much more shadow than you're seeing. This is going to drive me that crazy, so I'm going to turn off the brains on that light and kick it up one more time. Hello, dummy. Thank you. So hopefully the white balance will figure out what's going on, but at least my workspace is a little more equally lit for myself. And I turned off its brains over there. I don't know. It's got one of those sensors on it. It's supposed to be able to take a look at the room light and then go for what it thinks is best for your eyes. And normally that's fine with my computer setup, but today it's just being dumb. Okay, so we want a lantern and we need the clear bit to fill it. Okay, and then these 2 go together. Now, the cameras I'm using here, people often ask that one because they're just into streaming Lego and they're wondering what I'm using. So the face cam, actually, they're the same. So the face cam is ugly, washed out, and I need to work on that. That's just something I've messed up over the weekend. But yes, we get this. But both of them are at the moment Anker C300 cameras, which I believe Anker has phased out because when I looked at their website, this model and the one slightly after it, 302, are both marked permanently as out of stock with no marking on when they will restock. Normally they have that. There might still be some available on Amazon or whatever. There's a C500 as well, which is a little square one. It's not as feature rich, but this one has a fairly wide angle available on it. You can do 1080p 60 on it if you really want, which is nice. Oh, okay, thank you for. Let's just go back to this. I don't need that for this part. Gee, can you tell me? Okay. So I've got those 2, the Anker cameras, love them. And I was using a Logitech camera, 920, I believe it was. And that's fine, but this one I think is a little bit higher resolution, and its autofocus rate is faster. So I like that. It's about a faster rate. And for some reason, the NVIDIA broadcast software, till recently, didn't have any brains to try and focus things and center things for us. So that's where that's my video card that's running the pieces that keep centering the camera weirdly and moving around. And that video I hadn't seen that feature till this weekend. So news to me, you know. What is that? So I put the lid on this thing to start. So that's what I'm using is those. So I've got two Anchor C300s, and then the Anchor, not Anchor, the NVIDIA broadcast software for my NVIDIA RTX 2080, no, 3080, sorry. Well, it was interesting because I asked you about that on the weekend, if it's zooming and tracking your hands. You said no, it doesn't. It zooms and tracks on faces quite well, really quickly. But the capture card, or not capture, the graphics card is the one running all the stuff that we've got going here on the hands. And that surprises me that it's able to do that. It didn't happen on the previous camera, so we are zoomed in a little closer than I normally would be because I would normally want to have all the space off this other edge. Okay, so we've got just a silver goblet and a little chocolate frog that are going to go inside the chest. Close that down and we put a piece on top. Okay. Yours probably does, Fox, if you had the same broadcast software. You and I can chat about that later because it's not the camera doing it that's doing the centering piece for me. It's actually the
Thank you for the 16 long months of subscribing, Gary.
Hey, Gary,
1638.
thank you very, very much. I appreciate that. So the zoom in, like I could move around, like the leaning part, that's the camera itself, like it's software. But the bit about following my hands on the table and staying zoomed on my hands, that's not the Anchor camera software. That's the NVIDIA broadcast software. So if you wanted something like that, you could actually probably ask your laptop card to be able to do that for you. All right, so that's this piece. We're on to bag 4. I'm a little puzzled because no, I'm going to back up for a second here. No, I don't want that. Let me close this off for a second and see why. Oh, it doesn't want me to do that yet. Sure, okay, I'll step outside then. It doesn't want me to open up the character yet. Fine, I'll go with that. Okay, so we're on to bag 4. Hello? Bag 4, please. Oh, oops. I jumped ahead. Okay. Let's explode the bag. Yeah. We did this. It shows me great. Bag 4, let's close that. Okay, so I need the bag 4 parts. All right. Technically we have 10 minutes, but I started about half an hour late. The other piece of that is that I cannot recall off the top of my bean if we will have someone from the stream team running at the top of the hour. If we do, then I may read out to them. If we do not, then I may go at least the extra half hour, possibly a little bit longer. We'll see. I know it's our family day, so I really should not take forever on this, but I don't think that they would begrudge me some Lego time. All right, so this one wants on the corner, we're going to put the icicle piece. So one of those ones I showed you earlier that I mistakenly used. And a tube. Right. Things remind me of random other things. Gotta love ADHD. It's fun. Oh, I missed one. Oh. Yeah, okay, 2 of the hooks. But when I say talking about tubes in Lego, or just anywhere else, but sometimes in Lego, it reminds me of an old yogurt ad that we used to have on television. I think it was from a company called YoPlay, when they started putting yogurt inside little squeezable, like plastic tubes. Not a cup thing, but like a freezy wrapper, I guess. Except, or freezy, yeah, that's a brand name. 2 of those. You don't need to teach me that. Come on. Oh shoot, and I spoiled the. We'll look at that later. So it reminded me that the yoga place started talking about having your yogurt in a tube. You could take it with you in school lunches and so on. And they said it really funny at the end. So it'd be a tube, really, really deep voice. Gogurt. Yeah, it was like the Gogurt. Exactly. Exactly. We were a Yop household as well when I was growing up. So that was you would think, because Yop is a portmanteau mashup of um, the sort of Y sound from yogurt, as we spell it in North America, um, mixed up with the OP of pop, as in soda pop, that the product would be disgusting, but it's not. It was just like a sort of a drinkable, liquidy yogurt. And it's not like an unfinished yogurt. Somehow it was finished and then thinned. I'm not quite sure what they did there, but it was definitely tasty. And my daughter liked them for a long time, so we used to buy some of them here, and then she suddenly stopped. So we had a few that we were unaware initially that had gone off, and yeah, that's disgusting. That's okay. You know, she never was as bad with stuff going off as I was, but I think part of it is because times change. So part of the reason that she doesn't get away with it as easily as I did was twofold. One, that my parents didn't care as much about getting my lunch kit back on time, because back in the day, of course, everything, even though I used a cloth reusable lunch kit, sort of like a, what do you call them, one of those insulated ones. Even though I used one of those, everything inside it was disposable. So you'd have plastic wrap, and you'd have drink box that didn't have to come home, and so on and so forth. So getting the bag itself back, as long as that happened, they generally didn't question. And then both of my parents would take turns making lunches. Not hardcore in the turns, just whoever was available would make the lunch. So they weren't necessarily sure if the other person had already asked for the lunchbox back. The resulting effect was that when I absolutely hated something, and it still is egg salad sandwiches, that I wouldn't bring them back. So for a while I was trying to dump them at school, but then my parents found out, so I got in trouble for that. Then I'd bring them home, and well, that didn't go so well either, because I couldn't ditch them in the kitchen because my parents would find out in the trash, right? Couldn't put them in the bathroom. Once again, they'd find out, oh, that would smell bad anyways. So I'd close them up and hide them under my bed, which was fine when it was a sandwich bag. I mean, eventually, when my parents were trying to do reusable, we did Tupperware. Yay! So sandwich containers made out of Tupperware. Now, whether it's now or the 80s and 90s, Tupperware is and was, and well, before the company ceased to be, was very expensive. They had Tupperware parties and stuff, which was kind of weird, but it was still rather pricey. So my mom was quite keen on keeping track of where her Tupperware had gotten to. My dad, not so much. I mean, he just assumed it would come back at some point. So between the two of them, they decided, okay, they weren't going to fuss about it, and it would come back. Well, yeah. Don't do that with a egg salad sandwich and put it under your bed. It only takes about 2 weeks for it to start looking like a science experiment, and eventually it will give its position away, whether you like it or not. So, yeah, it was kind of disgusting. But then also with this whole reusable thing, at the time, I don't believe we were able to recycle or return for refund the little tiny milk containers. And at one point, my elementary school had a program where you could. So I was looking for the tan ones, because it's not these, because they have a clip on the edge. But I opened the right bag. I can see the trash on the floor. So I'm trying to figure out where those with the clip on the edge went to. Got two plain ones without a clip. It's like these brown ones, except tan. And you can see in this screenshot, it's very clearly the tan ones. So I don't know. Oh, there's one. Okay, there's one. Good. I can find one. Which means they may be in the other bag pile. Ah, there it is. Yippee. Okay, found it. So, where was I going with this comment? Oh, so anyway, yeah, I put it under the bed. And when my parents were giving me reusable drink containers. I used to get a Tupperware glass cup, I guess, that you could, put a little snap-on lid. So far, so good. Don't do that, even with skim milk. Don't do that. I put that under the bed as well. What gave away all three of them, all the parts, was the sandwich container and the milk container. Was that it got to the point where the milk had aged itself, and as skim milk, that takes a while. It aged itself enough to pop the lid off the container, and with all the off gassing, and yeah, oh boy, did I ever get in trouble, big time trouble. So with our daughter, she doesn't get away with trying to pull those sorts of stunts, partly because Fantastic Sherlock Fox is the one that makes the lunches for her basically every day, but he's also the one that's doing the dishes later on. And so if he doesn't see the lunch kit, he keeps bugging her and hounding her. I think we had one night where it didn't come in, or one night in the last year, I guess, where it didn't come in, and he went and had to go fetch it from her backpack the next morning. And I think we may have had one incident where things lasted the weekend. But for the most part, it wasn't super spoilable stuff. Like, it was spoilable, but not very stinky type of spoilable. But yeah, she had gotten a little bit of pushback for that, because we need to have your lunch kit every day. So for the most part, she's pretty good with that. Also, if they tell us that they do not like something and they really will not eat the whatever it is, then generally we don't mind looking for alternatives and serving them something different in their lunch so that they will eat it. My parents, not so much. It was like you get what you get, shut up. And that's more of a time period thing. Because I think that more often there's pressure today on parents, not only to be healthy with their kids, but also to avoid food wastage. So if the kids just won't eat it, and the school eventually tells the parents, yeah, your kids are not going to eat what you're sending, then I think most parents send sane lunches, although it gets to be different when the kids get older and can manage more of their lunches themselves. I don't think my son's school would tell us, because junior high seems to figure that you can sort this stuff out yourself. So we'll see. And there's the giveaway roughly on my kids' ages. But that's okay. We tend to try and cooperate with them, and Fantastic Sherlock Fox will ask them, hey, what sorts of things do you want in your lunch this week? What are you in the mood for? Because, I mean, there's plenty of times, even for me growing up, I'd liked what my parents sent to start with. And then after about 3 or 4 weeks of the same thing, I would stop eating it because I didn't like it. And then if my parents got the message, they wouldn't send it to school, but then I wouldn't get it for months. And they just weren't getting the message that I just needed a break for a while and then they could go back to it. But yeah. And the other thing was they were busy enough, they decided they weren't going to multi-make. So Fantastic Sherlock Fox doesn't tend to take a lunch to his office. And even if he did, I don't think he would make the kids eat what he eats. Just, there's no point kind of thing. So there's two different lunch things going on there. Whereas for the most part, if it was what my mom was taking to work, that's what I'd get too. Hence the egg salad sandwiches. Thankfully, she never sent what my dad would eat, because he's one of those guys that would grab a fork and a tin of sardines out of the cupboard and chuck them in a paper sack, and off he went. It's like, yeah, that's high on the disgusting list. So there's your weirdness for today, or some of it anyways. We're at the top of the hour. I have a lot of pieces still here. So I don't think I see anybody else live that we should be rating into. Let me just double check. Nothing critical. So let's just keep on going for a little bit. Yeah, so I've been about an hour and a half. Okay, so where are we here? Got this piece. Yeah, Fantastic Sherlock Fox says, he took leftovers for a while since he dislikes spending money on lunch at work, but these days you need the break. It's an excuse to leave the office. I can totally agree with that. It also doesn't help that Fantastic Sherlock Fox, you've passed on to me that some of your coworkers, for whatever their reasons are, generally don't take lunch, and they'll say, hey, come grab lunch with me, even if it's just a generic, lightweight, attempting to be social, walk and talk kind of thing. And I think it's for them probably the same thing. They just need out of the office. When I took lunches, whether you built them or not, the little while I worked downtown, like in the big office buildings, I would still very frequently need to get out of the office, but I'd be one of those people that would go like camp out in the indoor gardens and stuff like that. So I would have a seat and go and just sit, like take my lunch with me and go sit on a bench. Um, it's funny. There's that sort of things had seen ebbs and flows over the years, from what I hear. And some people were doing a lot of that for a while. So there was more random picnic bench kind of stuff going on. And then it seems to have disappeared and be back more in the food court zone. But then because some people are buying their food, they will make sense, but they will give a serious stink eye to someone who's using a seat in the food court zone with a brought from home lunch. Now, in a mall, you still get the same thing, but not as heavily, because frequently the ones that are doing that are the ones that you can very clearly see either they're wearing their food court uniform or they are in some odd way, clearly labeled as working at the mall, in which case people generally leave them alone because you can't necessarily eat your lunch out every single day of the week all the time on mall wages and actually manage to, make any progress financially. So yeah, all that to say that they tend not to get quite as big pushback there, but those that are, wearing suits and whatnot downtown get looked at really funny if you bring your lunch and sit on a park bench, particularly if you use the same one day after day after day. People start to eventually look at you like you've lost your mind and that you should be buying lunch and sort of what's wrong with you, which was not a fun thing when I worked in marketing. All right. What have we got here? Rod, and I will admit when I'm doing Lego, I'm head down. That's the word. And that doesn't work well for the webcam that's on top of my monitor. I've tried having a separate one down below. I just keep forgetting to move it back up for the gaming days. And I don't like it down below on the gaming days because I have this impression that you guys then get the classic laptop up the nose cam type of behavior. You guys can see what I'm looking for, and it's got to be here. There it is. Got to be here somewhere. The lighting is strange as well, but more importantly, where I've got things laid out on the desk, I'm not actually organized. We talked about a few times that I used to sort things, at least sort by color or sort by shape or whatever. The amount of time that takes up versus the amount of time I spend searching now is different. So, I mean, if I had a really big project, like say I was doing I haven't done one in years, but like a dots project or something has a lot of the same color pieces. For example, I know Fantastic Sherlock Fox has a lot of the same ones in an art piece that he's got. He hasn't built yet, but but that I might be willing to sort that type of project. But this one is enough different pieces that there's not a whole lot of advantage. And sometimes the contrast of them beside each other is actually helping me find the pieces. So this goes here, clips on that. That's a bit of a strange lack of solidity. Feels a little weakly loose, but I'm sure it'll come on tighter at some point. Okay, so we've got the upwards face. These upwards wedges, they're useful, but they always feel to me like you hit them just the wrong way and they're going to come off, which, as you saw earlier, I did do. There's one. Where's the other one? This one? Over here. I will say one thing I do like about the Shrieking Shack is there's a whole lot of different Lego levels going on, which is definitely giving visual interest for me. Okay, tube is here. There's the other one, up here. I'm not trying to be totally out of camera, just the range is bizarre and I'm not sure what it's trying to focus on right now. Whatever it is, it's wrong. So, hello? Leave my hand. Okay, now we can get back down here. Perfect, okay. Well, better. All right. That goes this far side. Sticker time. Alrighty. So we do have one that's not printed. Mount that, and they say, I believe it's sticker 16. Yeah, 16. Okay, so back to the sticker sheet, number 16. Now, once again, large finger would be a problem. Doesn't really matter where it's set up or upside down, but this is not printed center of the sticker, so I have to figure out what I want to do with it. And this isn't straight either, but that's fine. Okay, let's get a little closer to the end. Yeah, all right. So then I've got something I can hang on to. Position. Oops, come on. Better? Yes. Better. Oh, no, moved. Great. So I'm going to squish this. I think I like that. So let's do a press down. It wriggled. Ooey. Better. Press down. I think that's a half decent balance, I think, between one and the other for positioning. All right. So now where does this piece go? Grill on the top, okay. I got a bunch going on the top. Let's zoom this just a, oh, no, it's twist, bigger, bigger, thank you. Now we can twist this. Go out of the way. And it snaps, great. Okay, so we've got one on the side of the window. So now it's feeling a little more solid, I guess, because it's starting to lock itself in to the other pieces. 3 across this one. Sorry, my hand's in the way. Zoom's great, but then your hands are huge. With bump, without bump, without. Where is without or with? Oh, it's with. Okay, so I'm fine. This one, and this one's probably in backwards. Yeah, I put it in backwards. Of course I did. There we go. So there's something on the outside to go on each of these, it looks like. 1, 2, 3. One. Go. Okay, and there's another. Oops. I feel it starting. Oh, thought I was feeling it start to disconnect, but it's just because we've got a ridge underneath my finger that felt like it was splitting. Okay, so on this one, we need another arch. Where did I? I saw it, and then there it is. Saw it, and then I lost it. All right. Go. Wedge, wedge, wedge. This one. Somebody's head. That. Oh, I know what that guy is. Okay. So I'm trying not to spoiler what that minifig was, or which one it was. And, but I spotted the body, and I'm trying to move it off screen so that I don't spoiler that one. Okay, next. Yeah, I think we can figure this out. This one needs this piece. And there's the wedge. That way. One. Why did they give it a 180? I don't get. It's fine. And then it needs 10 with the 2 bumps. I'm not seeing at the moment, so let's start with the other piece. 2 by 1, 10, there. This one. Now we need the 10 with the 2 bumps on it. I don't see another one. I had one earlier. Aha, it was hiding. There we go. So this wall chunk down here, it wants to, yes, okay, go on side, right above the painting. Okay. Inches 2. There we go. Here's the other one. Down that way. They look like they should be matched, but they're offset. If they should be matched, I did something wrong. So yeah, let's hope that they're not supposed to be matched. Let's see. Okay, nope, they're not. Yep, they're not matched. All right, that's fine. So now, 1, 2, yes, you can show me they go together, that's fine. Next. Oops. Wait. One. I'm talking out loud, and I apologize if my voice probably gets eaten up or swallowed entirely. The layout on my desk is still a work in progress. One of the things I'm looking at when I'm looking at rearranging my office space I use, and one of the pieces or things I'm looking at is whether or not I'll be able to get cabling to reach far enough to let me move where my Lego space is to another desk, so that in theory I can leave more of it set up during the week or the month or whatever until I need to use it again, and then just rotate where my microphone is. And actually, I can probably do that. I may need a little bit of purchasing from Fantastic Sherlock Fox for longer cables, but the challenge I had in the past, and the reason I couldn't move things prior to this, was because that C920 camera from Logitech has a permanently mounted cable, and so it's attached to the camera on one side, and it's a USB-A on the other side, which it was also picky because you couldn't let it, what's the word? It didn't like USB extension cables. Even though it was a USB 2 device, it did not like the extension extenders. Even if I used a USB 3 extender to ensure I was getting full USB 2 behavior, it still didn't like it. So couldn't go through hubs or anything like that. But these anchors, they're not hub friendly, so I can't go through a hub, but longer USB-C cables are a thing. And also, I don't think I've used extenders on them, but from what I was reading on the web, they're a little more friendly to that. So that should allow me to move things around a bit better. I know my microphone cables can be butt for longer, so that works. Okay, this one actually fit, please. Oh, I bumped a piece. That would explain a lot. Go in. Snap on. It's just not. Why is it not wanting to cooperate? The front somehow got pressed in a little bit, so there's an angle. Yeah, that's better. That's what I'm saying. Lego's great, but sometimes little things like that can get you. So that bar, and we're moving right to left this time just for convenience sake. So you're going to see pieces that will slowly disappear as I put my hand over top of them. This one. But it's helping lock in a lot of this for another floor or a roof. Okay. I'm talking a lot and it's not helping, or I'm not talking as much. So I'm really enjoying this build. It's got some neat little twists to it because I would have thought, oh, well, some of these could have been done in bigger chunks, or why did you use that piece or whatnot. And I'm realizing that sometimes the way the pieces break up is actually part of the texture being used. So that's a fairly smart move on the part of the designers. Oh, I can't press that too hard. It starts collapsing in on itself. One of the things I actually learned a lot when I was a kid is my brother initially didn't press his Lego together all that much, and he was 2.5 years younger than me. Oh no, he do the math, almost 3 years younger. Yeah, it's my kids that are 2.5 apart, but he's almost 3 years younger than me. And he was so excited to get things going that he didn't often, go through to make sure they're really pressed and stuff. And so occasionally we'd be playing with, say, one of his spaceships and things, and he would squeeze it in just the wrong way, and it would all fall, like parts of it would fall apart. And it wasn't a bad design by Lego by any stretch of imagination. He just didn't always press the parts together. So once he got shown how, we both became very, very picky about doing that. And so I was that parent that as my kids would do their Lego, and then they say, this piece doesn't fit quite right. Well, yeah, it's because you didn't press things together tight enough. And so they shifted. The resulting effect, though, is that's part of how I'm breaking things these days, is because I press it to make sure it's stuck together, and I've pressed too hard and it falls apart because of the press length. Okay, we've got two different lengths of things going on. And this is these. That's the wrong one. See, this is part of why I love the digital instructions, because I can do that. I can rotate a piece. And so that means that's this one with 3 studs. I need 2 of these. Okay. And then the long one, just double checking it, has 5 underneath. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, that'll work. And they stopped rotating because I flipped them around. All right, so the shorter one there, longer one across the front, shorter one on this side, and a 1 by something in dark. 1 by 2? Let's find out. Yes, it is. It's this dark brown one. So I find that that's part of why I like the digital Lego, is sometimes also when I don't recognize the color as well, then I can zoom it in and it helps me see which color the piece is, the lighter brown versus the darker brown, for example. Excuse me. Okay, so we're doing this again. I'm going to try and wing it to start with, and we'll see if I need to look up the pieces closer. But I think we're doing okay, and we're going to work our way around the outside. Clips over, okay, just the edge there, so it's probably a short one. There, a square on the corner. When they do these sorts of things with the flat edge, it could be the exterior, but it could also be a separation point, so that you'll have it modular in a way that you could take parts apart, which is Lego's excuse for playability or diorama setup, so that you can actually reach in and make it fit, or like being able to access parts to go in. There we go, and one more. It goes right out. Oh, I have missed a stud on this corner somehow. Well, let's just look at it. Yeah, okay, it's just a single stud. So I can just work that in. I don't necessarily have to back it all the way up to find out where that stud was supposed to go, because I've got it. So let's put this back. And there is, you can see on the inside, there is a bit of a hangover if I do it from underneath. Yeah, you can see the winky bit is hanging over by 1, so I think we're good. So that's the other thing, is you can change the angles all over the place with this app. I don't know whether or not that'll be something that you may start seeing appearing in Fantastic Sherlock Fox's A-frame cabin builds or not. That's totally up to him. If he wants to do that, then I will happily cough up the cables and such for him to do so, but that's a pressure thing. One of the things that we are very clear about in our house here is we each do things differently. And so though we help each other out, as you guys saw/heard on the weekend when I helped him a little bit with his audio, the how I do things and how he does things are comfortably different enough that, ooh, another section, okay. Comfortably different enough that our setups are not interchangeable. I mean, if there was, crash recovery reasons, it'd be nice if they were similar, but they're not. So can be a little bit tempting to encourage him to do things my way, but frankly, there are things he does different and better in his way. So yeah, it's nice to be 2 different people, right? As opposed to a semi-clone of each other. Zoomed in enough to be able to see that. Okay, good. 1, 2, 3, 3, 3, yeah. And there's a shorter one going the other way, this one. Oh, I see. A secret entrance and exit thing happening. Okay. Build piece. Go. Yeah. Okay. So this fits on the swinging bar we put earlier. Over here. I'm leaning, which is kind of dumb because there's nothing to lean around. Yep. Okay, so this swings up. Should swing down. Oh, I've miscentered it. One of those ones that's fussy. So there's an edge it's catching on. I didn't get it quite straight on the corner piece, this angle, and it's catching right beside it. Is that better? Yes. So that's going to be a little bit fussy for me to sort later if it does catch when I go to display it, but at least I now know that that's a thing. All right, next. Oh, it shows you how that thing looks. Okay, great. Now on the front, we're going to do stuff. Triangle with the T-shaped piece. One of the big differences between Fantastic Sherlock Fox's layout and mine was he was giving you guys a view almost perfectly over top, which is totally legit. I would too, which allowed him to have his camera coming off the backside, which I can't because I've got three computer monitors right here, and those three what? Okay. Oh, I see. So I just don't have the space to be able to do that. And I do like the over-the-shoulder view because sometimes when the camera is cooperating nicely, I can be working on something in a somewhat similar angle to what it shows in the instructions, which helps both for me, but also for you guys to see what's what. It goes up. Okay, they made that in one move. I don't like that. So let's go up. Okay, now we're doing the bit to the side. Okay, great. So we want the clip, another T-shaped piece. Smooth. All right. That's the other disadvantage. I've got the instructions to my left, but the camera with the willow that I'm just going to move out of the way. The camera and the microphone and whatnot, you're seeing shadows, is all on the right-hand side. So it sounds really weird at times. Where are we here? Something just went bing, bing, bing. Wonder what I missed. Sounds like one of my chat service things disconnected, reconnected. Okay, so then we have to flip this over and it wants us to put the sticker on. And you've taken away my ability to hang on to it, but not quite. Almost. Almost. There. That'll work. Right, so now I need number 15 on this one. Oh, we're gonna do it twice. Okay, probably for the other side. Makes sense, because then we've got the snow built in. You're back. You've had like 7 family phone calls this morning. Ugh. Well, here we're celebrating what's called Family Day. So hopefully I can pretend that you're getting calls because it's Family Day where you are, even though that's pretty unlikely. Family Day in Canada is a weird one because we have a couple of different holidays in the country. Family Day is one, and I think our August long weekend is the other major one. Is the other one where basically every province of the country has a holiday on the same day, but they all call it something different. And realistically, there's a few provinces that'll probably call it something, or not call it, but like push it back by a week or whatever. So some of them don't like the floating holidays. This one is not a floating, well, yeah. Family Day is not really a floating holiday, but it could be. Oh, that's not how I expected this to go on. Okay. So this is going on the pins. That's different. Oh, I see why they did it the other way. Okay. So I can pull the triangle down in order to get this piece to slide on the pin, and then the triangle will fit in the middle. Okay. And it looks like the cross part is pointing down. That's not what I expected. And of course, rinse and repeat, do the other side. So clip sheet, white piece. This one. And I am going to bet that we want a sticker on next. So let's put that. We mount. Perfect. Yep. Okay, so here's the other 15. Throw it on the end here. I did actually had the bottom end on the last time. Need to try and do that part somewhat the same because otherwise the measuring top to bottom is different. And the previous one I did, which is hard to see on here, I've got it a little bit too much up towards the peak part. Now I'm vaguely wondering if I put it on backwards, but I didn't. The shingle design is going the correct direction. Okay, this way. Down here, please. Camera. Okay, so I need it to be a bit farther back than I originally would have thought, just because I want the bottom of the sticker to end up roughly in the same spot on both sides. Yep, good enough. So that's why I use the two brick separators. You can see that's a good example. I can hold on to things and see where stuff is going. Once again, it goes on the other side, same way. I didn't mirror it properly. Twit. There we go. All right, now that snaps on. Technic pin. So then, what did you do? Oh, dope. Yeah. Not what I want. Come on. This again. See if I can do it the correct way this time, maybe? That might explain why I had a bit of trouble putting the pin thing on. Okay. This is better. There we go. Glenn makes mistakes. Yes. Push this pin down a bit. And does this fit in the middle? Well, sort of. Tip, maybe? That doesn't. I've got the triangle bit off-centered. Come on. It's got to go more to the right. Will you? Is that better? Yes, better. Not ideal, but better. It looks like it's supposed to hide up inside and hide these two, but for some reason it's not. And I'm not quite sure if that's something I did or... Yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's not quite fitting what I was hoping, but we'll go with it. 2 more pre-printed boards. And they just go across the front, and the one on the right-hand side tips. Go. We're going to finish up this bag, I think, and then call it. Ads in 2 minutes. Boo. Oh, no. This one in the center. This one off the side. One of the few things I do like about the camera that keeps moving is if I keep moving, it sort of helps compensate for that. So we're running lower on pieces, which is good. But we'll have to see how many bags are left, because, I mean, that might actually determine whether or not I just push this through. We'll see. Unlikely, but we'll see. Okay, so there. Yeah, whoops. Of course, teacher emails have to come over top, don't they? It's because I overstayed my device's automatic streaming delays, so we may get all sorts of things. And our front door decided that it was going to be a pill and turned off its camera to save battery. I think it did that last week, and then we forgot to charge it. Goes here. Then we've got some more pieces. I said and then, but I don't think I'm going to fall for quotes today. It's in my head, but it doesn't mean you guys need to hear it. Okay, that's second. Oh, stickers. Lovely. 14. There's a bunch of them. Hey. We want that one. I can kind of see why they put the pieces on first, but then, whoops. Let's get this sticker on, somewhat centered. Way up, sort of, maybe. Too far over. Oh well, it'll do. Just bricks. Huzzah! Okay. And that is a chimney of sorts. Go. Okay, let's see how many bags we have left before I tap this one
Ads
open.
are starting. Dylan will
We're about
continue the
halfway through the
conversation
shack
after the
build.
ads are over. Thank you for supporting the stream.
So let me see how many bags are in the box. Oops. Okay. Here's where we're at. I have bags left. Okay. And today I did bags 3 and 4. So I got 2. Yeah. So we have two bags left. And today I did bags 3 and 4. I think that's enough for us to pull off one more stream. So I'm going to leave it for another one. So we've got the ground floor. We're ready to go onto a new spot. I will jump ahead and just do the 2 characters that we see showing because I just don't want those loose parts to get lost in the meantime. Yeah, actually, no, I'm going to leave it. I'll leave it. Skip it. So there should be a tile at some point in here, but I'm going to save that one. We've got 2 bags for next time. In the meantime, let's find someone to raid out to. So I'm just going to hit my magic button and see who we've got. Well, we've got 2 directions we can go. We can either go over to Genfire, who I'm not entirely sure what she's up to at the moment. Hard to tell. The other option, thanks, Mama Bear, I'm glad you like it. The other option is, because we've been doing Lego, we could head over to local brick shop. They're a slightly busier channel. They're a bit edgier, so family-friendly adjacent, I guess. Maybe. So my bet would be, because it's often a work day for people, I'm going to go with Genfire. I think she's more likely to be doing not Lego. Sorry, what's the word? Minecraft or something along those lines. So we'll get that raid started. I will be back on Wednesday doing my thing. And I'm going to see if we can figure out how to zoom out real quick to show you what we've got so far. Because we've got this chunk. Yeah, actually, we'll just go with that. So we've got this chunk, which is what we built today, right? With the interiors and such. And then, as I was saying, I'll be back on Wednesday. And Wednesday, we won't be doing Lego. We will be doing Minecraft, but I will probably be doing modded Minecraft on Wednesday. So yeah, that's where she be. In the meantime, as I said, let's get this raid started to everybody else.
Mischief managed.
Mischief managed. You'll probably see the next stream thing pop up pretty quick here, and there we go. Thank you to everybody who came by today, those that may have been hanging out and lurking versus, and those that were chatting in the chat. Always a great time for both. What was else I was going to say? I can't recall. But if you were part of the stream weekend this weekend, I wanted to say thank you guys. You gave me a really great weekend. I had some really good fun. Yeah. And while things are being janky and jittery on my screen, apologies to everybody there, but we will get the raid rolling in momentarily. So we had great conversation from Fox and Gary, and Scrublord and Metal and Mama Beggar and Poodle Pirate and Manic Pixel Dream Boy, and we were off to see Genfire. And before my computer decides to give up the ghost, let's raid on out. So if you're the type that likes emotes, they're in the chat there. And otherwise, have yourselves a great day. Bye-bye for now.
Transfer complete.